So let's get around the fire. I want to tell you a story. Now, it's a story that I've been putting off for a while, but one that is a patchwork of adventurous series that would, if I'm continue with it, it would cover over 250 episodes. Now, what is this story about? Well, in 2023, I went on my biggest backpacking trip yet. And I want to tell every single story from it. So if you love adventure, interesting stories, and if you want to restore your faith in humanity, then this will be one to watch. So stick with me and let me tell you every single story, every single day of this adventure. Now, when does it begin? It begins on the 29th of December, 2022, just before New Year's Eve of that year. I'm home, which is near London, and I embark on the trip. Where's my destination? Edinburgh, for New Year's Eve. And how will I get there? Well, I set my challenge to not use public transport and not use a car. Will I make it to Edinburgh? Will I have to break any of those rules? You'll have to find out. So this story begins at my home. My plan is to walk to a service station. Now, if you're not from the UK, a service station is a place where you stop off on the motorway, the highway, to get food and things like that. So if I wanted to catch people traveling to where I wanted to go to, it was adamant that I made it there. Now, this is over a year now, so I'm remembering all the details from that very crisp early morning. It was cold, but there was one conveniently soggy patch of mud where I had to kind of squelch through. So before I'd even properly started, I was already a little bit muddy. Not the best for first impressions. So I remember just briskly walking from my home to Fleet Services, which is just west of London, because I was going to find someone there that would take me further north. Now, getting there wasn't too hard. I got there. It was quite a trek, but I managed to get there. It was still early hours of the morning, I think. And so when I got there, I wanted to find someone going north of London, anywhere north of London. It didn't matter which road, just somewhere that would point me in the right direction, that would send me off on my merry way. Now, plan seems simple enough, but coupled with the fact that I hadn't told my family I would be hitchhiking up to Edinburgh, and I didn't realize how difficult it would be in this particular area. But that's for a little later on. So I try so many different strategies in this service station. I make a sign, I make a little cardboard sign telling them where I'm going, and I stick my thumb out just by the exit so that cars can see me and they can pull over. I tried that, no luck. So after a bit of trying that, I thought, you know what, I'll go into the service station, I'll stand outside the service station and see if I can make conversation with a few friendly folk that way. But after much and many attempts, that didn't work either. I made some good conversations with people. I got some pity looks, but overall I was ignored, and it wasn't that great. So that was another option that I tried that I wasn't able to succeed at. So I was really running thin on options. There's not very much you can do in this service station. I was standing outside the service station. I was talking to people that were leaving. I was, sticking my thumb out. But so much you can do. And I can't remember exactly how long I was in this service station for, but it was I checked back on a video. Now, you don't need to watch this video. It's not very, I wasn't very interesting back then. But I said 3.5 hours. I think it was a little bit more than that. But I was there for a very long time. And for me, hitchhiking, if I'm somewhere for 4 hours, that's really hitting the limit. So, but how did I escape this prison of a hitchhiking zone? Well, not very dramatically, but I came across these two guys. They had this uh, kind of workers truck in the car park. I think they were eating some food. I can't remember. I was going back and forth from the service station building to where I'd stick my thumb out, and I walked past them. I've asked some people in vehicles before, but it usually doesn't yield to anything. So I walked past them, didn't think much, and then I walked past them again. And I thought, you know what? What's the harm in trying? I'll go and ask them. So I start a conversation with them, and I tell them my mission, and I ask them if they're going north of London, anywhere north of London. I don't care. I just need to get on the road up from there. And they hesitated at first, but they were like, "Yeah, we're going in North London. We're not going past London." But they said they can take me somewhere convenient. So that was brilliant news. I was finally leaving this place, and I risked my parents following me on Google Maps or whatever. So I was out of there. I was free. So they turned out to be very, very nice lads. We spoke about all kinds of things. Can't remember a ton, but just every topic under the sun we talked about. They mentioned I should start videos. So we're a year late, lads, but here we are. And they dropped me off at these service stations. I think it's South Mims. So it's the north of London. And that's where they dropped me off, which was just perfect for me. It was right on the right in the right direction for me. Now, yeah, really, really nice lads. They dropped me off on a slip road. It was a kind of rushed exit, but I did take a photo of them, which I will add to the video now. This is them, and they wished me luck and let me on my way on my adventure. The adventure continues. The adventures await. So I kind of hurriedly leave their vehicle with my bag and my sign, and I head towards the service station, this one, a new service station, in search of someone that would pick me up. Now, before I'd get to the service station, I saw that this slip road could be a possibility for finding a lift. It's not impossible that cars will stop on these slip roads, these roads that join the highways, and give someone a ride, because there usually is a hard shoulder. Now, I did try, but I was very quickly stopped in my tracks by not quite the police, but a traffic officer. I don't know what the equivalent is in your country, but they essentially told me that, yeah, I couldn't hitchhike there. So that was fun. And then I went off in search of someone at the service station. Now, it's a little bit harder because this service station, people could be going in all kinds of directions. They could be going into London, they could be going out of London a different way, or they could simply not want to take me and give me some nonsensical reason. So it's quite hard finding people in the service station. But how long will I end up in the service station, and who will take me next? Now, after experiencing many bouts of hopelessness at the first service station, I was determined to ensure that it wouldn't repeat itself in this one. But it was also a similar case of trying a bunch of different things. I first went into the service station just to gauge how many people were there. And then I set my sights on the car park. And I first went to people with electric vehicles, because usually they're charging, waiting, trying not to bother any of them in their own cars. But that failed. Then I stuck my thumb out by this petrol station towards the exit. I remember trying there for quite a long time with my sign out, my thumb, and a big fat smile. But my charms wouldn't charm anyone to let me in their car. So I really had to go back to the drawing board because I tried a bunch of things and none of them were working. But that's what you have to do when you hitchhike. You have to try loads of different strategies. Um, but it was fun. I tried different things. I wasn't hopeless in this one. I think having those guys as the first people to pick me up really gave me so much motivation, so much happiness to continue my travels. Because if they hadn't picked me up, um, it really would have changed the fate of my mission, and it really would have changed the whole course of the next day as well. So when I got to the service station, um, I was happier than I was before, but I knew I had to find a ride because I had to make up for all the waiting in that last service station. So I remember the guy that picked me up, and I'll show you a photo of him now. Um, I simply met him when he walked out of the fast food restaurant, whatever it was, and I asked him politely if he'd be able to take me a little bit further north to the next service station. It doesn't matter; it still helps a lot, and he very kindly obliged. So it wasn't a long journey, I remember, but I was very grateful that he was able to take me further up the road where I had to go, and he set me on my way. And in the UK, if you want to travel far, you have to hop from service station to service station. So that is what I set my sights for, doing exactly that, going from miserable service station to miserable service station. And the next few people will really surprise you, and it definitely surprised me too. Now, before I continue, you might notice that who's that strange looking boy in these photos? Well, it is me, but it was me after eating quite a lot after Christmas while postponing my haircut like I normally do. So, along with celebrating the New Year's Eve in Edinburgh, I would also make sure I get a haircut. So, yeah, if I'm looking totally unsexy in these photos, that is why. So, I come out of these one service stations. I can't remember the name. Most service stations don't have a very significant name. It's nothing out of the ordinary. But I remember, at least in my record, the next set of people that of real significance that helped me on the trip were these two really lovely ladies. I can't remember what service station it was at, but from what I remember, different people took me a little bit further along the way on my journey. And so by the time I got to this service station, it was dark already. It was winter, of course, in the UK. And when it gets dark, it gets a little bit harder because people are a little less trusting. So while still composing myself, being my sensible, polite self, I also was a little bit desperate to find a ride, just to go a little bit further, because who wants to be stranded in a service station? Now, these two particular ladies, I didn't approach, but they saw me. They were very curious about me, and they struck up a conversation with me, and they asked what I was doing. And I told them I was on a mission to Edinburgh, Scotland, and I was looking for a ride anywhere further north. But that was it. I didn't even ask them. And them being so wonderful, they wanted to help me out. And I was very happy. Before we even set off, though, not only did they want to help me travel a bit further, but they also asked if I was hungry or if I wanted anything to eat. I said I was fine, it's okay, I'll get something later. But they very much insisted on helping me out. So I remember we, before setting off, got to the petrol station, and one of the ladies asked me what I wanted to have, and I picked I think a sandwich or something, and she was like, "Oh no, go on, take a couple more things." And she just put together like a bunch of things for me to have and paid for it, which was just incredible hospitality. and really lovely. It's these moments when you travel that you really cherish. And I was just without waffling, I was just very happy. And it was a short ride though, but we had nice conversations. They were really worried about me, but I told them it's all good. It's all part of the adventure. And they dropped me off on some other random service station that I can't remember. I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint. But I think it was them, but they gave me a bit of money as well, which just really the icing on the cake for just how wonderful these ladies are. Of course, when you travel, you meet loads of amazing guys and girls. Uh, but I remember them being especially hospitable, and yeah, just amazing. So after a short journey, we parted ways, and they wished me well and sent me on my way. So, without dwelling on the amazing people I've met on this journey that have helped me, I had to continue traveling. Now, at this next service station, I remember the next lady that picked me up, and luckily it didn't take too long because it was dark. But I remember I was asking people, I was loitering outside the building asking people. And if you've ever hitchhiked, you know how much of a socially painful experience this is, because they think you're weird, and and you know that they're lying. So it's uncomfortable for both people, really. But you ask, and people give their reasons. And some people genuinely want to help you, but they can't. But you have to ask people. You have to. It's the only way at this point, because I'm not going to interrupt them when they're eating, and I'm not going to get too close to members of staff in case they have a problem with it. So that's what I did. And next lady, I, for some reason, unintentionally spooked her. Of course, not with intention, but I asked her if she was going my way, and at first she was quite hesitant, but after learning my mission, she wanted to help me. At first, we weren't sure where she dropped me off to, but I said to her, anywhere further north is fine. I can always leave the road and come back to it later in the morning. So, yeah, pleasant conversations, and we finally found a place for me to drop me off at. It was this retail area outside a town called Wakefield in the north of England. So I can't believe I managed to make it there after the hellish morning I had. But I hugged her. She wished me well, and that was that. That was where I'd spend the evening. I wouldn't know what I'd be doing next, but I knew that I wouldn't be traveling any further than this. So, yeah, it was dropped me off at this Starbucks. Now, I don't go to Starbucks for coffee because I don't want to waste my money on expensive coffees. But I just went there for the internet, the Wi-Fi, because I don't think I had any Wi-Fi at this point. And I had to get some things done. Give myself a little break before continuing hiking and seeing where the night took me. Now, usually when I go to Starbucks, nothing really interesting happens. I go for Wi-Fi and then I leave. But in this particular occasion, I don't know how it happened, but I might have had a quick conversation with one of the baristas there. Just sat down, and I think maybe he noticed my backpack, and I think I told him that I was hitchhiking, but there was an error order for Starbucks, and without me even asking at all, he comes up to me and goes, "Hey, we've made this error order. Do you want it?" I'm like, "Yeah, thank you. Why not?" So this guy gave me a free coffee, just completely randomly, serendipitously, and it's these like surprise moments when you travel, these like moments of good fortune, serendipity, that really just wonderful experiences. It's hard to describe if you've never really had something like it, but it's those moments that you really live for. So um, yeah, I was just happy. It was like a, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but I drank that. Well, drank a little bit of it, and then I realized that I'm not going to spend all night in this Starbucks. I'm going to be somewhere where there's at least something going on in the evening. So the nearby town of Wakefield seemed like an option. I could explore a little bit in the evening and maybe find some interesting person in the evening. So I walked there. It was quite far up the city. It was a bit of a trek, but I made it there. Wakefield's a kind of historic town. It's not really too much going on, but I realised at least if there's a bar or something, I could at least talk with people and not be on my own. So I had my eyes set there, and I remember arriving and there not being very much going on. A bunch of drunk, crazy people, which is maybe commonplace in most towns in England, but most of the bars were very exclusive-y, nothing really homely feeling. But the one place I do remember going to was this uh, underground bar with this rock music. Don't know how I ended up there, um, but that was interesting. And there were these people my age playing pool there. Had a chat with them, but wasn't much going on. So I decided to visit the one only historic building in this town, and then head towards where I was hitchhiking out of this town the next day, which wasn't back where I came from, but was in kind of the other direction of the city. So I have a sleeping bag with me. I didn't explain. I have a sleeping bag with me, so I'm covered for all weather occasions. It's good when you travel to always have a plan B. And sleeping bags are pretty comfortable as well. So I remember hiking out of the town. It was really late at this point, and just finding any bit of green area where I could sleep for the night. And yeah, I remember being very lonely because there was absolutely no one around at all. It was like 11:30 or something, and yeah, um, I remember finding this like grassy area. I think I got some. The only thing open was this like kebab place or something, and I remember that. But I slept there outside someone's house for the night. It was a little bit hidden, and it was fine enough for the next day. Um, so in my head, I was thinking, what will the next day bring? What will the next day of adventures bring? Would I make it to Edinburgh that day, or would I be still traveling? Um, is my plan even good? Should I have gone back the other way? You have to find out.